So where are we at? Um, it's definitely an interesting point in time where pretty much everything is falling apart, but people are not seeing it or refuse to see what is happening. So even in the alternative media, there's not really a consensus about what's actually going on. Is Trump the good guy? Is he the bad guy? Is Q still on plan? Is this or not? Who's really in control? Are the globalists, Zionists winning? Is communism winning? Or is the opposite winning? Like, are the white hats in control or the black hats? Like, there's so much confusion. Even the smartest people who are in the know about what's going on, like not on a daily basis, on a, hour to hour basis, practically. So people who understand what is happening in real time, they don't even have a consensus. Wow. And if they don't even have a consensus about what's what, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I just say I have a tendency to say it's a good thing. Because it just means it comes to an end. Like, obviously the problems are so severe in every aspect that the entire clown show is coming to an end. And I mean this world. And this world sounds very vague, I don't want to be philosophical here, but it's everything you know. It's all there is. And this world runs on money. It also runs on oil, but you can only buy oil with money. So practically the operating system of this world is money, currency, fake money, made up money. And the operating system is, I think, more or less already glitching. And when it's breaking down, then the world is not functioning any longer, When the operating system shuts down, your computer shuts down. So there's just going to be a black screen, which means the world that you live in just disappears in a second. Boop, just gone. And then what that means. But I don't think that's gonna happen. But I can't tell you what's going to happen. But the financial system, which is already fake from the very beginning, is having problems. That's the politest way I can put this. And I think a lot is just being held together by lies. I mean, the power structures. And this is only possible because the sheeple, the NPC, tax slave, that's you, by the way, is so easily being lied to. So they believe anything what's on the news. They say black today and they not, and they say white tomorrow and they not. So they just believe anything, even if the media told them the exact opposite just a day ago. No problem. And this is fascinating in a bad way. And the manipulation is never gonna stop because it's so efficient. And this is also the reason why the people in power stay in power. You know, they tell you, yeah, you have democracy and blah, blah, blah. But really, when it counts, well, they manipulate so much. They rig elections. They manipulate with the news. They manipulate opinions. It's like information control, framing to the level that you can influence how people think. And even if they don't do what the people in power want them to think, well, then they just create an event so the election is different. There's just gonna be, mail-in ballots, or it's just canceled because of a bat soup in Wuhan, or they can just make up anything. People buy it, and then you have an excuse not to do an election or to rig an election. And all the elections are rigged. All the erections are rigged too. No. So, but they still continue to tell you you live in a democracy. But when it really counts, your vote doesn't count. Even if you vote, who's voting what is irrelevant. Who's counting the votes? You see, the people who count the votes, they have the power. The people who vote, they don't have any power. So there's so many factors to manipulate an outcome. It's impossible for anything to change. And the last people who change are the sheeple. That's you. Because you don't want to know. You don't want to be right. You don't want to know, and you don't want to have a discussion about what's going on. You just want to be right, and you want to be left alone in your comfortable, super comfortable bubblegum lifestyle comfort zone bubble. And that's all that matters, right? And you don't want to think anyway, so thank God the media is telling you what to think, right? If they tell you today Trump is the bad guy, then he's the bad guy. If the media is telling you a day later Trump is the good guy, you say, yeah, he's the good guy. I always knew. It's just so ridiculous. And that's where we at. And some people really get tired of the lies, but most people don't care. They just don't pay attention. They simplify their life so much that they just choose to be an obedient slave. And this is so ridiculous. It's so hilarious. And it's such a double standard hypocrisy. These fucking hypocrites complaining about slavery and racism and slavery this and slavery that and racism this and racism that and reparations and blah 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 for people who haven't been involved, when they don't realize that they are slaves. They are slaves themselves. And they think, oh no, I'm an exception, I'm different, I'm earning money, I'm paying my taxes. I mean, how dumb and retarded and brainwashed, what a useless NPC, how ridiculous can you be? How can you even take yourself seriously when you look in the mirror? I don't get it. You're not an exception. You're just as a dumb slave as the next guy. Everybody is a slave. Haven't you fucking noticed? At this point in time, in this history section, in this window of history that's going on for decades or hundreds of years, everyone is a slave. If you pay taxes, you're a slave, period. If you have good money management because you have a legal team and an accounting team, and you think you're super smart avoiding taxes, well, that just proves how much of a fucking slave you are. Are you dumb? Are you retarded? Yes, you are. And I said, no, I'm financially free and I have all this money management and yada, 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 and I'm diversifying my assets. Yeah, sure, I heard it all. I've been there, done that, got all the t-shirts, I've heard it all. It's all bullshit, and it just proves my point precisely, how much of a tax slave you are if you have 10 different residencies and visas and permits or passports if you're rich enough, so you can diversify internationally your assets in a way that you are a little bit less of a tax slave. It's ridiculous. Get the fuck out of here. I mean, people are twisting what's even left in their brains just to lie to themselves that they have a little bit of freedom. You don't have any freedom. You're just getting better at lying to yourself that you have some freedom. You don't. You don't. You don't have any freedom. And then complaining about slavery and racism and reparations when you can't even see yourself that you're a slave in this system. That's peak hypocrisy. That is peak stupidity. And this is where we at. You think, no, but I got crypto. I got Bitcoin. You see, you always try to one-up with a dumbass lie that, there's freedom in the blockchain. MINIMAN, you don't understand. you're the biggest, most retarded, useless, dumpster fire NPC slaves, period. And all you're really good at is lying, especially lying to yourself. That's what you're really, really, really good at it. And this is exactly the point, basically, because the real work is the spiritual work. But you're still trying to fight your way out of a dumpster. And you try to convince me that diversifying your assets, having 10 passports and crypto and Bitcoin, that's a way to fight yourself out of a dumpster. Dude, you're still living in a fucking dumpster. The entire system is a dumpster. And it's burning and it's stinky. And there's dumpster juice everywhere. But you try to find a tiny little spot somewhere in the dumpster and pretend, oh, look, this is paradise. I made it. I made it out. And you try to ignore the stink and the dumpster juice and the dumpster fire and just the awful smell. And then you pretend it's not happening, but you have NPC dumpster zombies running around everywhere, and you try to stay away from the big cities because it's too dangerous, and you take an Uber because you don't want to go with the public transportation because you're too scared to get stabbed with a knife or gang raped. But then you still vote for the same political parties who are responsible for the reality you're living in. I mean, can you see? I know you can't, but can you see how retarded you are? How much of a slave you are? How much of a useless NPC you are? Can you see it? Can you see it? I know you can't. It's a rhetorical question. A rhetorical question is not a question, actually. It's a statement. I know you can't see it. I'm just trying to make this nice, right? But there's, you can't make this nice. Yeah. So what people really actually, what they should have done 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago is go to therapy and do some spiritual work on yourself and get enlightened and find out who you really are. And then you have a foundation you can stand on to fight your own slavery, But hey, I mean, this is exactly what nobody is doing. This is exactly what nobody did. You were too busy getting drunk in the bar, too busy getting laid, too busy building up status and your financial standing and to impress, women, men, to get laid, basically, And now, the show is coming to an end. People don't even, I don't know, want to get laid. The pretty girls are on OnlyFans, and the dudes, they're probably jerking off at home. But you got a bunch of Bitcoin and you're super free. I get it. Incredible amounts of freedom. And the ugly chicks, they vote left wing and get gang raped on the way home And the ugly dudes, they get nothing. They probably committed suicide already last week. I don't know. And the economy is crashing and nobody's doing anything about it. And people are cheering because, they're being invaded by by mass migration. And the whole social order is collapsing, and of course the finances too, right? The entire financial system is collapsing because it's built that way. It's supposed to collapse. So this is where we at. This is August 2026. I'm MINIMAN, grow that drawing.